Okay. This is a short tutorial to show you how to use your follow-up file at the Institute. I will share my screen and show you straight away at the Institute what a follow-up file looks like. Okay, so for instance, a coaching person, you have, let's talk about Hong Shuang, for instance. His follow-up file is an Excel. Oh, I know why he's not there, because he's also part of a group lesson. Let's find somebody who's just by herself. Let's find Abby and Aurélie. Here is her follow-up file. It's an ODS, which is a LibreOffice document, or else it's Excel, depending on whether you have Excel. If you don't, download LibreOffice, which is free OpenShare, and that will give you the spreadsheet. Okay, I'm going to just zoom in a bit. And the objective of the follow-up file is to give a faithful transparency to what you are teaching your student and the tools that you are using, so that any teacher can come in and straight away take over should you be ill or absent, and to allow your managers to have a view on what's going on to help guide you should you need guidance. In this first cell here, in cell B at the top, you should write the name of your student. In your template, it'll just say name. So I would ask you to replace that with the name of your student, and to check with your student the number of hours that they're expecting to have in their training course. In our case, now that we're out of COVID, practically all of our training courses are in présentiel. In this case, I would say that Abby could have taken off the distanciel because, oops, sorry, it is distanciel because he doesn't teach her in présentiel, although there was both, but now it's distanciel. Okie doke. And you should find the dates of her course. These dates you can't imagine, you can't invent them. And you will find them here in this document. And this is the files that you have for all of your students. And here on this file, we will see, if I zoom in for you, here is Aurélie, who is learning with us, Aurélie Rometti, and the dates of her file. And that's interesting. Did I put her dates in? I hope so. Otherwise, I'm showing you something that's completely useless. Let me find somebody else's dates because she's an old student and maybe we didn't put them in. Let me see if Sandrine's to delete. Let's get the right one. Where is Sandrine? Sandrine, she's here. Let's hope that here, this is the right file to exemplify what I'm saying. Here we go. So her dates for the minute, I haven't had Sandrine to be able to take a photo of her, but here we have her dates. Okay, and these dates reflect her official dates of the training course that she has bought on the CPF site. And they give us the date when she should be starting and the date when she should be finishing. So in case it's not filled in ready for you, you can come here and copy paste, okay? It's important to be aware of these dates because you should know where you're going. You should know when we're expecting to finish. And if you're encountering difficulties because your student is away a lot or has been ill a lot or is cancelling a lot, then you would need to be signaling this, to alerting us as management to intervene, because we could run the risk of not being paid for her training course if we go over the dates that we promised that we would do on the CPF website. This number here should be found there. If it's not there, put it in. And what you will find is that here there is a calculation, and that here, if you write a number here, it will automatically take away and show us what is left. This number will be subtracted from this number to give you the amount of hours left. So if I was to write 5 instead of 1, you can see that it automatically changes. And it looks like I made a mistake. I don't want A1 pronunciation. Oh, Gordon, I don't want that either. Let's go back. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Typical. There we go. I just want the figure 1. I don't want any numbers next door to it. There we go. Okay. Here, please write down the teacher that is teaching your student. If it's you, very good. And the day that you're absent, well, another teacher will write their name. Or if you're on holiday and we need to teach the student whilst you're away, it will be important to be able to trace back exactly how many weeks has been with a certain teacher. These things come up in admin. Okay. Of course, make sure that your file makes sense, that you've got the appropriate information for where you are right now when you're teaching your student. And the final thing will be, let me zoom out fractionally, the date at the top. These might be a model document that carries any old dates. So if you're teaching your student on a regular basis on Tuesdays, for instance, then you know that the date was, you can fill in the first column of your first lesson, the second column of your second lesson. And because this is a spreadsheet that has these functionalities, you can select the two to show what the gap is that it needs to jump up. And then you can just drag this all across the top and it will automatically give you the date for the whole year or for the 40 hours that you're teaching her. Each column corresponds to one lesson. And if you took 2 hours, then you would write 2 here. If you took a 3-hour lesson, then you would write 3 here. In this case, because this is a course taking place over Zoom, Abby is also using extra tools such as Jamboards, where he and his student write together on a Google Jamboard. And Abby has put in the link so that we can go in. I can go in and see what's been taught, or if a student, a subbing teacher came in to take over, that teacher would also have access to see what's been taught. As you can see here on the side, there is classwork and there is homework. Let me zoom out so that you can see that very clearly. There we go. Therefore, this will cover everything that is done in the class. We put corrections at the top because you will be here making a comment about the homework that you set last week or the last session. And this is important to note because it gives us an idea to see whether your student is doing their homework. And this can help us predict how much the progress the student will make. It will also be the place where you would write that they're not doing their note-taking methodology, that they have put in their words in the Anki app, and all the comments that will help us evaluate how well your student is progressing. When we come to look at the pedagogical meeting, we will go through these follow-up files of each of your students, and we will see together. And as managers, we go into these files regularly to give us a view of how well your students are progressing. If there's been many cancellations, is your student not happy? Is your student disengaging from the training course? And it helps us make sure that everything's on track. In your homework, these lines are ready made for you as a template, but they might not be appropriate for the course book that you're actually teaching, and you might need to delete a line or two. In the class work, I haven't mentioned, and I will just mention that here it will be important for you to write the student book that you're working on. You write the course book that they're working on and the edition, and this is very important, because I might need to give the teacher's guide to the teacher that's coming in to replace you. I might need to make sure that you have all the tools that you need to be able to teach your student. I might need to check how many students are working from that book and how many I have left. So this is all important information. The ready-made lines in the homework are as follows. Homework on the workbook. They always have a workbook that accompanies their class book. And you will write here. It should correspond to what you've done in the class. I do recommend, if ever this isn't already done for you, I do recommend going into the very first cell that you're happy to move and to freeze your panes. And that way, your column headers and your line headers will be frozen when you are moving through your file. So it's clear whether you're talking about homework or whether you're talking about classwork, okay? Here we will see that Abby has given out work in the workbook. He has asked his student to work on something from the student book. At the back, there was the vocabulary bank. He should be asking her to write down the words on Anki. That never changes, but it's there just to make sure that you don't forget. You might be asking your student to do work from one of the journals that we have subscriptions to online. And we have all the logins available for you. And you might be asking your student, you will be asking your student to do work from the online practice. Okay, we also have a login to Ororo TV, which is a fantastic site, especially for ESL learners, English as a second language learners, where the series are all subtitled in English. And if you click your cursor on any of the words, it takes you to a dictionary. It will give you the dictionary translation of the word. Really brilliant. And of course, it's very motivating for our students to follow current series that are trending and appreciated, rather than perhaps stuff that can go out of date. And there are anything else that you might give. It might be bring in photos of your holidays. It might be write a text about your holidays, whatever. Anything else that you might give is down here at the bottom. Okay, and Abby has put in methodology as a way of reminding him to ask her to do her methodology each time. And that's a good idea to put that in there. Okay. And that's what your follow-up document should look like. Enjoy.